You wrap up your Saturday night back here on NFL Network with the Dolphins and the Raiders, 8:15 Eastern Time. But now back to the Bucs at the beginning of the day with a preview from Sarah Walsh.
Lions interim head coach Darrell Bevell told us this is the times that we are living in. You have to be ready for everything, and you have to be ready to adjust. They are making major adjustments on the coaching staff this week after Bevell and 4 other coaches were ruled out of Saturday's game against the Buccaneers because of COVID protocols. Robert Prince, the team's wide receiver coach, steps in for Bevell to assume head coaching duties, and Sean Ryan, the quarterback's coach, is going to be calling plays, something he hasn't done in any level of football. Bevell said he's going to work with Ryan to just practice calling a game. Now, Bruce Arians sees this a little differently. He says now the Bucs have to throw out all the tendencies they were preparing for because the Lions have new play callers on both sides of the ball. He also sees it as a chance for these coaches to audition for some heavy-duty jobs, and he expects the Lions will throw the kitchen sink at him.
Okay, Sarah, so depending on the outcome of the Saints' Christmas Day game, the Bucs might still be in play for the NFC South Division title. But what we know is the Bucs will clinch a playoff berth with a win on Saturday or a Bears loss to the Jaguars on Sunday. Okay, back here now with Brian Baldinger looking at the Bucs and Lions game here. Ton of talent on that Tampa offense, as we've talked about all season. But which one of their playmakers really needs to step up on Saturday?
I think it's going to be Mike Evans. The Detroit Lions have the 32nd ranked defense, regardless of who's calling the defense. The corners have not been good. And I think Mike Evans, he's had 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons receiving, and he's 221 yards away from it. I don't know if he'll get it all in this game, but I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's a great matchup on the outside against Detroit's corners. And I think Tom Brady can't help but take his shots down the field. And I don't know that they have an answer for Evans down the field right now. I'm expecting a big day for Mike Evans.
Mike Evans coming off a 100-yard game against Atlanta, his first since Week 4. Thanks, Baldy.
Murray drops back to throw. Fires left side. Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins puts his hands up and he catches it, and it's a touchdown. Shotgun formation. Snap to Murray. In trouble. Steps up and runs to his right of the 20. To the 10. Breaks a tackle to the 5. Kyler Murray with a touchdown run.
Well, the Cardinals could punch their postseason ticket this weekend, currently holding on to that 7th and final seed in the NFC, and Arizona officially in with a win and a Bears loss or tie. Could also get in with a tie against San Francisco and a Bears loss. Omar Ruiz now with a look at this Cardinals-Niners matchup.
Even though it's possible the Cardinals could clinch a playoff spot by the end of this weekend, they say they're solely focused on the 49ers. Kyler Murray telling me this week that they've made mistakes in games this season that are simply unacceptable. He also said they've been in playoff mode since their last loss, Week 13, against the Rams, and he would expect postseason competition and the intensity about those games to ramp up even more here down the stretch. He said if they're going to have a chance to not just get to the playoffs, but make a deep postseason run, they'll have to clean up those mistakes. The 49ers, meanwhile, are getting superstar tight end George Kittle back. Head coach Kyle Shanahan announcing that the star tight end will return to the 49ers lineup for the first time since Week 8 after recovering from that broken foot.
All right, thanks very much, Omar. Back here with the Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. And TD, looking at the Cardinals here, it's been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde as of late. They lost 3 straight from weeks 11 through 13. Now have won back-to-back games. Where do they need to continue to improve as they approach the postseason?
Yeah, but for me, it's just kind of not shooting themselves in the foot. When you look at the game they played against the Eagles last week, in the red zone, you had a D-Hop fumble as they're going in to score a touchdown. Then you come back on the other side, and Kyler Murray throws a red zone interception. And then they had an exchange where they were trying to do a read option to fumble the football. I mean, other than that, when you watch this team could be really, really good. But it seemed like they're trying to find ways to win and be consistent doing it. And to me, if they don't beat themselves, they can be a very difficult team to go against. Their defense is pretty good. They're tied 4th in sacks with 43 on the season. And there's a lot of guys who can get after the quarterback. So they have what it takes to be a very good team. They just can't beat themselves.
Yeah, Kyler Murray getting back to run the football a little more in these last couple of weeks than he did in the previous 5. So perhaps that kind of showcases some of that improvement as well. Terrell Davis, thank you very much. As we continue to work our way through the triple header on Saturday, let's get a look at the AFC playoff picture. Chiefs, Bills, and Steelers already in. Steelers may be backing into their postseason spot in a parking lot where that is frowned upon. They've lost 3 straight, gone from the 1 to the 3. We could know 6 of the 7 teams in the AFC playoff field when this week is done. The 7th and final slot will come down to week 17. And Saturday's finale on NFL Network between the Dolphins and Raiders will point us in the right direction. Steve Weich setting the stage.
Raiders head coach John Gruden said he didn't want to let the cat out of the bag as to whether it'll be Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr starting against the Dolphins at quarterback Saturday. But Gruden said that Carr's made enough progress from that groin injury. It's where he'll be optimistic and ready to go. Now, Gruden is leaving a little mystery in the air by saying both quarterbacks practice well. But remember, Carr went from limited Tuesday to practicing fully twice the rest of the week. As for the Dolphins, head coach Brian Flores said they're preparing for both quarterbacks. They've got different styles. Of course, Mariota's more mobile, Carr's more in the pocket, but he said he doesn't want his team to be caught off guard in a game with this much importance.
Steve, time now for No Apologies, presented by Proper number 12.
If you think you're a playoff team, you got to win games like this.
Play action fake, Cam back to throw. Gets hit from the backside and down. Sealer.
Oh, Zach Sealer, what a play.
Deep downfield, has a wide open receiver. Fumbles the football. Jacoby Myers with the catch, but the Dolphins look like they got it. Getting pressure, and they got it. They got it. Cam back to throw all the time in the world. Dumps it down to his tight end who fumbles the football. Blitz coming, and they got to him. They got him. And they'll just put this one to rest.
Started from the bottom, now they're here at the top. The Dolphins defense with perhaps the most impressive worst to first turnaround this season we'll see. The league's number 1 scoring defense, also the league's most opportunistic, forcing 26 turnovers. That a league high. Baldy back here. Baldy, what do you think's been the key to this real turnaround for this Dolphins defense under Brian Flores?
Well, I think the vision that Brian Flores had for what he wanted his defense to be. It started with the quarterback plays, getting Byron Jones in free agency and matching him up with Xavier Howard. They put a lot of resources into those 2 players against Kansas City 2 weeks ago. I mean, not many guys will line up with Tyreek Hill the way Xavier Howard does on this spray fade route that he runs. They get their hands on him. They disrupt the timing of the route right at the line of scrimmage. They do this consistently. But the one thing that separates Xavier Howard from a lot of corners, he always gets his eyes back on the ball. And when he does, he's got great athletic ability. That was his 9th interception of the season. Now, when you can lock up on the outside the way that they're capable of doing, including Eric Rowe here, on the tight end right now, when Travis Kelce comes in motion, and you can lock up and make the quarterback hold the ball. Even if that quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, you got a good start here. And they've been able to do this consistently through the year. Those players have been healthy this year. And what it does is it allows Brian Flores, in this case, to really keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket by Jerome Baker right here, to make him hold the ball longer than he wants. They have a lot of twist stunts inside that they run, and they get to the quarterback as a result. They also have a lot of different ways that they can really stop the run when they can do this. But here you go. You get pressure on Mahomes by making him hold the ball. You see this consistently week in, week out. And it really starts with their ability to man up on the outside. That's a credit to Brian Flores and how he wanted to play defense and the players that he wanted them to play.
Yeah, and a credit to GM Chris Greer and that front office for the Dolphins. Those free agent acquisitions, Lawson, Agba, Van Noy, and Byron Jones have certainly paid off. Let's pick this thing, Baldy. Who you got winning?
I like Miami. I like that defense. We know that the Raiders have had a lot of problems defensively all year, but I like the Dolphins in this game, 23-16.
All right. I am, however, going to go with the Raiders in this game, 24-19. I think the Raiders are going to be a little bit healthier this week than they were last Thursday against the Chargers. And facing elimination, I feel like John Gruden's crew rises to the challenge in this game. Baldy, thanks very much.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already established a winning record going into Saturday's game.
Tua, that quick release, put it right on the money.
And listening to Coach Brian Flores, it's still a lot of unfinished business.
Well, I think the standard for our team, we want to achieve something really high. We want to win out.
What a throw by Tua Tagovailoa.
We got some high goals that we set for ourselves as a team. I think we're trying our best to try to reach that.